In this video, I'm gonna be covering 8 things to never say to a woman that you like or are dating or in the talking phase with. Some of these things that I tell you, you're probably fine to say if you're in a relationship, but if you are not and you want this person to like you and keep seeing you, don't say these things. Number 1 is gonna be, you're really intimidating. This is something that a lot of guys will say when they're out with a girl who's really, really hot, someone who they feel like is really accomplished, and they'll just blurt it out. They're like, you know what, you're really intimidating. Don't ever say this. It might sound endearing or like a compliment. It's not a compliment to her, I can guarantee you. Basically, what you've told her is that you are up here and I think I'm down here. And there's a large gap and I'm intimidated by your presence, your accomplishments, or whatever. Women react very negatively to this. You basically just told her that she's wasted her time by going on a date with you or talking to you. And that's not what you want to do. Even if you feel like you're intimidated by this person, even if you're nervous, even if you're, scared she might not like you, any of those things, I don't want you saying you're really intimidating. That's just gonna put her off, right? So instead of saying you're really intimidating, be like, wow, that's really great that you did that, right? But don't spend 10 minutes talking about how great she is. If you treat her like a celebrity, she will treat you like a fan. A woman wants to date someone who's at, her equal playing field or above. So, don't belittle her accomplishments. Say congratulations, that's awesome. But don't be like, wow, that's so amazing, and ask all these questions about her and make her feel like she's, way up here and, you're down there, okay? Talk to her like a normal person. Number 2 is, do you like me? That I've actually said when I already knew the girl was super into me and it was already pretty much like set and done, and I just did that to mess with her. Don't actually say this and mean it, okay? If she actually thinks that you don't know if she likes you or not and you're worried about it, that shows an incredible amount of insecurity. Do you like me? Or do you love me? Or are you into me? Are you attracted to me? Like those kinds of things, unless you're being funny about it, you probably should just never say them. If you're worried about it or if you're thinking about it, I would just keep that to yourself. You see, a lot of times, even if you were trying to be totally honest and you're saying, hey, Lloyd, you know what? I get there are all these rules and everything, but I just want her to be honest with me, and I'd rather just leave if she's not interested in me. Let me tell you why that's not a good idea to do. You're really ruining your chances. A lot of women don't know if they like you or not. A lot of women don't know where they stand with you. One day, she might feel really good and she wants to see you again. Things are going great. And then the next day, she doesn't. Maybe she thinks, oh, things are going too fast, blah, blah, blah. What you have to be as the guy is the stable, consistent, confident one. And I know that can be a lot of responsibility sometimes. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to show that you are doubting things, that you are doubting yourself, that you are doubting the two of you. Because I guarantee you, if you're doubting, then she's going to start doubting it as well too. So if you're having those feelings, keep it to yourself, just be consistent, pay attention to her actions, and decide if you like her. That's the question you should be asking yourself. Do you like this person? Do you want to keep seeing them? If the answer is yes, she's reciprocating, keep messaging her, keep hitting her up, keep going on dates with her. Number 3, this is not so much something that you say, but it's something that's said over text. There's some emojis out there, dude, that I never want you guys to use. I never want to see you do like the hugging emoji with the hearts and everything. That one is just, there's no way to look cool while you send that, right? And there's a bunch of other emojis, which I'll put at the bottom right here, that I never want you to use, all right? Anything that looks too cutesy, anything where you're trying to, if you're putting a smiley face after every single thing that you say, it looks fake, it looks too cutesy. Women don't want to get with a guy that's being cutesy all of the time. They want to get with a man, okay? If they wanted to get with a child, they would go for a child. They're looking for a guy who they can look up to, okay? In fact, if you're confused about using emojis, I just would use them a lot less. The only time I use an emoji is when I'm saying something that would sound really, really mean otherwise. Mostly I stay away from them. Number 4, why haven't you texted me back yet? I don't ever want to hear you text anyone this or say this when you see them in person. that's just not something that is ever going to go over well. Maybe she's busy, maybe she just didn't want to talk to you, homie. And you getting mad about it is not going to make a difference. If you guys have a good rapport, you've been on a bunch of dates, things are going really well, and she's still taking a long time to get back to you, yes, you can have a discussion about that, but you make it a discussion and you ask the question if she's a big texter or that kind of thing, and then you can lead into that discussion from there. But saying, hey, why didn't you text me back, which isn't really so much of a question as more of a demand, that's really not going to go over well. You're going to sound needy either way. And if a woman's not texting you back the way you want her to text you back, then you have to make a decision. Do I want to actually see this person? Is this something that I'm going to put up with? Is this something that, if she's not showing interest, do I really want to stick around for that? All right. So if a woman hasn't texted you back and you've sent 2 text messages, cut it off. Even if the text message is a really big text message after the first, I would think about it, but you might be able to send a follow-up depending on what it was. But yeah, man, after 2, probably done. Number 5, all my exes are crazy. You never want to say that. Or my last ex, she was such a nutcase, or she was so crazy, she was so manipulative. She was like anything really, really negative about your exes. Look, if you want to date this person and you're telling her that the last person who you dated was crazy and the person before that was crazy, or this was that, she doesn't know if you were the one who made her crazy. She doesn't know if there's something bad that's going to happen. And honestly, speaking bad about someone who you were really close to, who could potentially be her in the future, is never a good look. I mean, have you been on a date with a woman who was complaining nonstop about all of her exes and all of this stuff? Every single time I hear a woman complaining about how all her exes were abusive, how they were manipulative, how they're cheaters, how they suck, how they were, not men, or whatever it is, it never makes that person look good. And honestly, I'm not going to go out with someone who speaks that badly about the person who she's dated. Does she expect me to date her after she's saying all of those things? That's the same thing that you're projecting when you say stuff like that. So, keep it to yourself. If she was that kind of person, you can talk about it, but try and see the good. Obviously, there was some good in that person if, you did date them for a certain amount of time, or you were boyfriend and girlfriend in a relationship. So, don't dwell on the negative stuff that was associated with that. It makes you sound much better if you're more positive. You talk more positively about the people that you previously dated, okay? And you don't really have to get into details. That's none of her business. Number 6, I don't know, whatever you want to do. You probably should never say this when you're planning a date, because that makes you sound indecisive and not confident and just not have an opinion about things. That's not the kind of person that a woman wants to date. A woman wants a person who has a plan. She wants to date a guy who knows what he wants, who knows what he's going to do and where he's going to take her and all that stuff, okay? I've explained this a bunch of times on my channel that the man to woman relationship is basically you lead and she follows. If she's not following you, then basically she doesn't like you, right? And she can't go through that process of following you if you're the one who's looking to her to lead all the time. So be a guy, lead. Don't ever say, I don't know, whatever you want to do. That's her job. And number 7 is good morning. So I've talked about the good morning text before. If you're in the initial dating stage, I really don't like the good morning text. I think it's not a good text to send. It doesn't convey any sort of masculinity. It doesn't convey any of the things that you're really looking to do. But look, I've been in a relationship for a long time. I've sent the good morning text plenty. Usually most mornings, me and my girlfriend will communicate or we'll say good morning to each other. That's after you're in a relationship. But if you're not in a relationship with that person, avoid sending that like the plague, okay? There's no reason for you to be consistently sending good morning texts. You can maybe get away with it once or twice, but at the beginning, let her wake up on her own time and she can look forward to receiving a text from you. She will like it at first. If you guys like each other, she will like the good morning text at first, and it will slowly start to seem worse and worse as time goes on. It'll make you look weaker and weaker. And honestly, I would just stay away from that stuff. After you guys get into a relationship, then you can start texting each other good morning. Number 8, the last one. Do you want to split the bill? Look, this is going to sound controversial, but if you asked her out, you should be paying. I think the guy should be paying on the date. I think you should be making enough money to be able to contribute, to show her that you can provide. I think that you should be able to lead and take her on a date that she's going to enjoy. And look, if you can't afford a big fancy date, you can still plan a date that's relatively inexpensive. You can still take her to the park and get like a bottle of wine or something that costs $8. You can take her somewhere that's not expensive, on a walk to go see a view, or to go get some tea or whatever. Like, these are very inexpensive dates, but they can be very, very good. It doesn't cost a lot of money to give a woman a great experience. But because you asked her out, but because you are trying to get her, it is important that you pay. Okay? If you let her pay, you're basically saying, hey, you're the guy, I can't take care of myself, I can't provide, I can't do any of that sort of stuff. I don't care if you are with a date with the most feminist woman of all time. Okay? If you asked her, you should be paying. Even if she asked you, I find even the feminist women expect the guy to pay, but in my opinion, you should be taking charge there and you should be doing that. Is this gonna happen forever? Is she never going to pay in the future? No. Obviously, there's different people. Some people are very strict about that, but there's a lot of women in today's modern age that will contribute as time goes on to the relationship financially, okay? But at the beginning, if you're leading the dance, then that's part of being dominant, that's part of being masculine, that's part of being all of those things. And women still appreciate it even to this day. So those are the 8 things, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, consider subscribing, and good luck out there.